Hello. Today is World Philosophy Day. Since 2002, UNESCO has designated the third Thursday of November as World Philosophy Day, with the aim of promoting the development of philosophical teaching, encouraging criticism of thought and reason, philosophical analysis, research and exploration of major contemporary issues, and strengthening international cooperation in the fields of philosophy, the humanities, and social sciences. Different cultural perspectives can breed a unique philosophy. Inherited from the Taoist heart of Tai Chi culture and based on the natural theory of the universe, there is this idea that there is a strong balance between people and the environment. Qigong is the oldest movement of mankind, and Yin and Yang wisdom is the highest philosophy of mankind. At the beginning of the program, we will be shown a video, leading the audience to understand Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy, an ancient martial minpai.
Qigong is not just mankind's most ancient sport. It transcends sport. From the level of the soul, it enhances the capabilities of the body and mind. Ancient Menpai, Shifu, and Dizi as one bequeathed Tai Ji Men's splendid culture and achieved the overall health of body and soul. Jiang Menren, Grand Master, teaches his Dizi, similar to students, the philosophy of Yin and Yang and life wisdom, guiding them to cultivate moral character and purify their hearts while strengthening physical, mental, and spiritual health. Jiang Menren guides his Dizi to reach the highest state of harmony, uniting the heart of man with the universe. It's a form of self-cultivation in everyday life, beginning from wishing to change oneself, to find satisfaction in life, wisdom in which yin and yang are balanced. Traveling the world, participating in more than 3,000 domestic and overseas events, visiting more than 200 cities in 101 countries, hosting more than 20,000 public lectures, promoting love and peace education and human rights at over 300 schools at home and abroad, sharing concepts of love and peace to resolve conflicts in the world, launching the movement of an era of conscience, enabling the butterfly effect of an era of conscience to catch on in 200 countries, generating a common response from over 3,000 organizations. Launching a cycle of goodwill, which has become condensed as a formidable energy. Changing the world. Turning the world upwards towards goodness. forging a more beautiful life for everyone.
Tai Ji Men philosophy not only emphasizes the balance of yin and yang, but also strives to understand the importance of practice. Over the years, Tai Ji Men disciples have personally visited more than 300 schools to promote human rights and to educate citizens of the world. We have visited 101 countries, more than 300 cities, and have performed in over 3,000 cultural performances around the world to promote understanding between different countries and races through cultural exchange and to integrate the hearts of the world. Philosophy means love of wisdom and is a collection of two ancient Greek words, philia and sophia. So any pursuit of wisdom, knowledge, and truth can be considered part of philosophy. The pursuit of truth by Tai Ji Men disciples never ceased. In 1996, in the post-liberation era, when Taiwan's government cracked down on religious and spiritual groups suspected of being opposed to the government in power, Tai Ji Men did not have any political position, but it has suffered unprovoked persecution for nearly 25 years. At the 47th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in 2021, a non-governmental organization in special consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council, the Coordination for the Freedom of Conscience of Individuals and Organizations submitted a written report on the Tai Ji Men case and other cases of tax abuse against spiritual groups. They noted that tax weapons are often used to discriminate against minority religions and spiritual groups. This is a global problem that requires urgent attention from leaders and human rights fighters. On this World Philosophy Day, world-renowned scholars on freedom of religion and human rights use this Tai Ji Men case as a case study to affirm that Tai Ji Men's nonstop efforts and perseverance over the past 25 years in fighting for legal tax reform are the best manifestation of truth and philosophical thought. Let's watch it together.
So good morning or good evening, everybody, to this short roundtable about the World Day of Philosophy and the Tai Ji Men case. I do happen to have also a BA in philosophy. I heard many years ago, actually in 1975 at Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome. And then in 1998, when I had evolved into a sociologist more than a philosopher, I read with great interest what quickly became the standard textbook about sociology of philosophy, which in truth was called Sociology of Philosophies, and whose author I knew quite well, Randall Collins, who is more or less the founder of micro-sociology. And Randall Collins' main theory is we practice rituals during our life. It doesn't matter whether we are members of a religion, we are believers, we all practice interaction rituals. When we say good morning, and perhaps it's not a good morning at all, we are already practicing interaction rituals, and the rituals created space, and through emotional energy, they created cultural capital, and they create networks. So in 1998, Randall Collins wrote this book of 1,000 pages and more about the sociology of philosophies. And what he did is to dismiss theories that philosophy is controlled by external factors like power or politics or money. And he said philosophy is basically a network of people sharing certain rituals and creating cultural capital and the bonds through a shared aim ritually expressed. And what is this shared aim? And here the problem starts. According to Collins' book, this aim is truth. And so it's a ritual of truth, philosophy, be it Western or Chinese or Japanese or Indian, according to Collins, always was a sort of religious worship of truth. Of course, the message of this goddess truth may change, and ultimately it came that the message of Goddess truth is there is no truth at all. Now, I remember when I read this book, which created an enormous impression among sociologists and among philosophers as well, I was reminded of something which is not quoted in the book. And that's the motto of the Theosophical Society. There is no religion higher than truth. That's Madame Blavatsky's motto. And of course, it was used to criticize the dogmatism of Christianity and to promote Eastern religions against Christianity. But the problem is that today there may be no religion higher than truth in our society, but truth has become very much elusive. Since we are relativist, we are postmodernist, we no longer believe in truth, and we live in what somebody has called the post-truth society. Now, what does this have to do with the Tai Ji Men case? Well, I believe a lot, because we cannot come to judgment about the Tai Ji Men case if we have no ideas about what truly happened, if we have no ideas about the truth of the case. And it may seem that it's very funny that there is no longer truth. We live in a relativistic post-truth society, but the Tai Ji Men case shows how a post-truth society can be easily manipulated by people who have bad intentions, by politicians, rogue politicians, or rogue bureaucrats. So I believe if our friends of Tai Ji Men academies in the United States have decided to gather together and celebrate the World Day of Philosophy, one contribution we can give is that as sociology of philosophy has clarified, philosophy is about truth, and complex social events which needs a theoretical explanation, such as the Tai Ji Men case, are also about truth. And when we say that something is about truth, something is also about the falsehoods. And one of the reasons the Tai Ji Men case has not been solved is that a lot of false information and slander have been propagating. And that's why we do these webinars, which we are scholars, intellectuals, human rights activists, and we have this strange idea that if we keep repeating, giving true information against false information, at the end of the day, we may cause certain social changes. So of course, we may be deluded, but we hope that is the case. So with this, I believe that some other participants to this webinar on November 15 on tolerance and the Tai Ji Men case may leave a message and pass the relay baton to those in the United States, which would reflect on the World Day of Philosophy and the Tai Ji Men case. So whoever wants to add a comment, and se Giuseppe vuole aggiungere un commento sulla verità in italiano, ben volentieri io lo tradurrò.
Grazie mille. Grazie mille. Intanto grazie per l'opportunità. Non so se in questo caso, professore, posso intervenire anche considerando quella che è la tradizione religiosa alla quale faccio riferimento, perché nella giornata mondiale della filosofia potrei fare riferimento a Ron Hubbard, che è il fondatore della religione che pratico, che è Scientology, che dice in merito alla verità che è vero quello che è vero per te e ciò che tu stesso hai osservato, e questo è tutto in merito a ciò che è la verità, no? E potrebbe sembrare semplicistico.
Che traduco.
Sì.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I have to specify that I director of an interreligious organization with people of many faiths, but I personally am a member of Church of Scientology. So my approach to truth is through L. Ron Hubbard, who was the founder of the Church of Scientology. And L. Ron Hubbard had the idea that truth comes from experience. It's what is important and what is true for you and what you have directly experienced as true. Prego.
Grazie. E attraverso questo punto di osservazione della verità diventa conseguenziale il fatto che non esista un'autorità assoluta in merito alla verità, cioè non si prende una verità per imposta da un'autorità, semplicemente senza osservarla direttamente.
So one important point for us is that the truth doesn't come from authority. You should not believe that something is true because somebody has told you it's true, but you should judge that something is true based on your direct knowledge and experience.
Questo potrebbe naturalmente aprire ovviamente ad un'osservazione ancora più ampia dell'osservazione di che cos'è la verità e che cos'è la filosofia, ma non è questa la sede per farlo. La sede che abbiamo in questo momento ci permette di dire che se affrontiamo un argomento, l'argomento della verità e della filosofia, in merito ad un caso come quello degli amici di Tai Ji Men, non possiamo semplicemente assumere che la verità sia quella che dicono i mezzi di informazione, tanto per dirne una.
Yeah, of course we can discuss and express different opinions on truth and philosophy, but today we are here to discuss the question of truth in relation with one specific case, that's the case of Tai Ji Men in Taiwan. And the first observation is that if we learn not to be imposed a truth from outside, we will also learn not to accept as truth what the media tell us.
E quindi in conclusione dico che un incontro come questo permette, oltre al fatto di poter partecipare, anche di poter approfondire una conoscenza in prima persona di una situazione che diversamente non avrei potuto approfondire e conoscere. Anche l'incontro che abbiamo avuto qualche anno fa con i membri di Tai Ji Men ha portato ad una conoscenza diretta. In sostanza, la conoscenza diretta delle cose è la prima e più importante per avere un approccio corretto alla verità.
So if you want to come to some truth and perhaps even a philosophical truth, you should try as much as possible to have a direct experience. So for me to learn about the Tai Ji Men case and the Tai Ji Men in general, I very much appreciated participating in webinars where I can hear not only from scholars, but also from members of Tai Ji Men. And also, I'm very happy that a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet in person Dr. Hong and some members of Tai Ji Men. And this is an example of what I was saying, that the direct knowledge is always very important to try to reconstruct the truth about a certain situation. Grazie, Giuseppe. So thank you to Giuseppe. And somebody else who wants to leave a message which would reach the American Tai Ji Men as they celebrate the World Day of Philosophy. Marco.
Yes, very briefly, I'm very much intrigued by the subject because I studied philosophy when I was younger, of course, in the Catholic University in Milan, and I had the privilege to follow and learn from the lectures of an authority in philosophy, Professor Giovanni Reale, who was an authority in Greek and Roman philosophy especially. And I don't want to go with platitudes, but Giovanni Reale was the specialist on Plato, and we all know the popular saying "Amicus Plato sed magis amica veritas," which means I have a friend in Plato, but my greatest friend is truth. We come from different traditions, religions, spiritual, moral, philosophical traditions. So it may be difficult to find in a few minutes today an agreement on what truth is, and I'm not looking for that today. But one thing is sure: truth does exist. Better say, truth must exist. What am I saying? I'm saying that it's not the same to say that prosecutor who is right or that Tai Ji Men is right. One of the two must be wrong. This is, again, a platitude, but this is so true. So philosophy is the human exercise of the mind, the human exercise of reason, trying to grasp what truth is and where it does lead. We may, again, have different understanding of that, but we must, and we, of course, are compelled by reality to conclude that there must be some truth. It's not the same thing to do evil and to do good. Tai Ji Men, Shifu, and Dizzy know that so well. We all know that so well out of our life. Another great saying by Professor Reale he died, that truly all human beings are philosophers. They may be not philosophers by profession in the strong sense of the word, but as much as we look for truth as human beings, we are philosophers, because the core business of philosophy is truth. And Giovanni Reale also said that, and he drew that from Plato, there is nothing more useless than philosophy, because it doesn't make you do anything concrete, apparently. But there is nothing noblest and highest than philosophy, because philosophy makes two things: either it speaks of God or it speaks to God. We may have, again, different religious understandings, different traditions, but if we are here for good or for bad, we are at some extent convinced that there should be a supreme being, a spiritual force, call it whatever you want, and that is directly connected to truth. Again, Tai Ji Men people know quite well that there should be a truth, because good and evil could not be possibly as a law of facts put on the same level and have and be the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Somebody else wants to comment on Camellia? Yes.
Yes, I didn't know that you'll have this talk, but I'm also inspired by what you said. And regarding the truth, from all that I read and I studied, I noticed that actually each of us, we perceive the truth at the level of the consciousness where we are. And the truth, even for ourselves, can be different from one day to another one, when actually we have a better insight, when we are more in harmony with ourselves. And regarding the Tai Ji Men philosophy with the Yin and Yang, and as Marco mentioned, good or bad and something like this, the entire manifestation has these two poles, plus and minus. One doesn't exist without another. To go into the truth, to be always in the truth, that means that we are in such a perfect harmony with ourselves that we are equal in the things, and only in that time, in such a state of consciousness, actually we can trigger for the truth. And regarding the philosophy, from my knowledge, the philosophy as itself, it was created in order to bring, let's say, the godliness, to open for the people the possibility to perceive the superior consciousness, or to find out about the superior states of consciousness. So having as the root, as the stones, this base, the philosophy, of course, will always help people to have a better perspective, or an insight about how the things are to be perceived. And that is always going to the truth in the heart. Only in that time, in the neuter state, when actually the things are not so much demanding in the doubts or in the worries or in the perception of so much the polarity, plus minus, only in that time we can see the truth. The truth is unique. The truth doesn't have a bad or a good side. The truth is just in itself, as also the experiences are equal in themselves. They are perceived good or bad according with how we interpret them. But the experiences, they are just lessons of life. They are just, let's say, opportunities for us to learn more and to experience more the entire life. Yeah, I think going or searching for the truth is one of the most important things in life, and I also am on this path of searching for the truth in all that I am doing. Thank you.
We pass to Willie, which can perhaps conclude this short roundtable, which I remember is our participation in the event organized for the World Day of Philosophy by the DC of Tai Ji Men in the United States. So, Willie, the floor is yours.
Thank you for giving me the floor. I am a human rights defender, and as such, people might think, oh, okay, it has nothing to do with philosophy, because human rights defenders, all their activities, their thinking are rooted in law, international law, its implementation, and so on and so on. But I don't think that would be a right perception and assessment. In fact, all our choices, all our activities as human rights defenders are rooted in the Enlightenment period and the Enlightenment philosophers. And it is thanks to them, and in fact we have come, in a sense, their children, their heirs and their disciples in our activities. And it is thanks to them that we have broadened our minds, I would say, and we are defending the same values as the philosophers of the Enlightenment period. We don't belong to another planet or to another sphere. In fact, we as the heirs of the philosophers of that period, we accept that other people have other perception of what is their truth, and we respect them, which means that we respect otherness, and we have respect for inclusiveness and diversity of opinions. And as such, I think that's a huge progress that has been made by the research and the teachings and the writings of the philosophers of that period. We have become more human. Now, I am not only, of course, a human rights defender. I am a human being like everybody. And there was a time when I was an atheist. And I was sure that I had the truth. And after that, I became a Christian, a Protestant Christian, because that was giving me more freedom of thought, more freedom of expression, in fact. And I think it's very dangerous when people start, or groups start saying, we have the truth, because then those people become, well, practice exclusiveness. And that leads to toleration, as I said on another occasion, but a toleration that is very negative, because there is a feeling of supremacy and disdain in that sort of attitude. I think that we as Christians, or people who are Taoists, who are Tai Ji Men and so on, have a deep feeling of what is good and what is evil. And that goes across, I think, all religions. Every human being has the feeling that what he does is right or is not right. But it's dangerous to say, I have the truth. For example, in the interpretation of the Bible or other sacred scriptures. So I would give a warning to such people who run the risk of becoming extremists in their attitude and in their relations with the rest of their societies. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Marco wanted to add something. No?
No, it was my request for before. It remained in the fact.
Okay, so in this case, thank you. And I want to wish well to these in United States and the others. They will gather at the World Day of Philosophy. Philosophy is in a state of crisis, precisely because if people no longer believe in truth, it's difficult to see the relevance of philosophy. But still, I believe it is important to keep philosophy in the program of our schools and also in our attention, because a society cannot function only with material goods and economy and food and entertainment, but a society always needs to ask the basic questions. What is truth? Where do we come from? Where do we go? Even if, as Willie and Bernadette said, we will never agree on the answers, but it's very important that this does not lead us to eliminate the questions, because eliminating the questions on the one hand will make our societies more poor, and on the other hand would help those intolerant people who manipulate the truth to persecute those who don't share their truth and those who disturb their power, as we have seen in the tragedy of the Tai Ji Men case. Thank you. So I believe we can conclude here, and we can all leave except Willie, because Willie doesn't know if he can participate to another event, so he will register his speech for next event, and I hope he can also share the text with those who will comment at the end of the 23 of webinar. So thank you very much.
As Mr. Willie Fautre, co-founder of Human Rights Without Borders, said, the concept of truth embodies the possibility of accommodating different doctrines, beliefs, and values. and the tolerance of different ideas and cultures allows for a brighter flower to emerge from mutual collisions and reactions. Conscience, in turn, guides people to choose the right path and to know how to distinguish between right and wrong, which is the so-called truth. Next, we will invite a few Tai Ji Men disciples to share their perseverance in the pursuit of truth for almost a quarter of the century. First, we welcome Jeff Chen.
My name is Jeff. I am a software engineer living in New York. Today, we're going to talk about the World Philosophy Day. Starting 2002, we have celebrated World Philosophy Day on every third Thursday of November. When the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization first introduced World Philosophy Day, one of the objectives was to foster philosophical analysis, research, and studies on major contemporary issues, so as to respond more effectively to the challenges that are confronting humanity today. Yin and Yang philosophy is one of the oldest Chinese ancient philosophy concepts. It began around 3,000 years before the century. It is a concept of dualism. The black and white in the yin-yang symbol are obviously opposite. It's yin and yang. It's dark and light. It's fire and water. I joined Tai Ji Men when I was 7. In Tai Ji Men, I learned Qigong, martial arts, and yin-yang philosophy from Shifu, Dr. Hong, to strengthen my physical, mental, and spiritual health. Shifu told us, Yin and Yang is not just black and white. It's also good and bad. It's right and wrong. It's true and false. Shifu told us to be a good person, do good things, and have good thoughts. Shifu also told us to be able to tell the right from the wrong, and to tell what's true and what's not. In Tai Ji Men, Shifu not only teaches us Qigong and Yin-Yang philosophy, but he also brings us to do cultural exchange around the world. Over the years, we have been to over 300 cities in more than 100 countries. Through cultural performances, we promote international friendship, spread love and peace, and share the wisdom of Yin and Yang. Unfortunately, in 1996, Tai Ji Men became a victim of the religious persecution in Taiwan. With very limited investigation, prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren accused Shifu for fraud and tax evasion. He even asked the tax officer, Shi Yuesheng, who had never conducted any factual investigation about Tai Ji Men, to commit perjury. Shi Yuesheng falsely accused Tai Ji Men as a crime school and suspicious of tax evasion. The National Taxation Bureau didn't wait for the court ruling for the nature of the income, nor conducting any investigation by itself. They immediately determined Tai Ji Men is a crime school and issued tax bills for the year for 1991 to 1996. They also imposed heavy fines upon Tai Ji Men. In 2007, the third instance of the High Criminal Court ruled all defendants not guilty, and there was no tax evasion. In 2019, the National Taxation Bureau corrected the tax deposition, correcting the fines of income tax and other related items of the 1991 and 1993 to 1996 tax bills to zero. What about the tax bill for 1992? Somehow, the NTB is not willing to correct the 1992 tax bill. They even used the 1992 tax bill to take away Shifu's property. This is obviously wrong. Tai Ji Men has been the same organization in nature throughout the years, and there's nothing special in the year of 1992. We didn't suddenly become a crime school just in 1992. the NTB should have revoked the 1992 tax bill. During the negotiation, a government official even suggested we pay some partial amount instead of paying the full amount, and they will close this case. This is so wrong. You either owe the full amount or you owe nothing. You don't owe the partial amount. Who gave you the authority to only collect the partial amount? I can imagine they have already suggested the same to a lot of other people during the negotiation. In the Yin Yang symbol, there is only black and white. There's only right and wrong. There's no gray area between the black and white. There's no vague area between the right and wrong. Shifu told us to always do the right thing and learn to tell what's wrong. What NTB has been doing is so wrong, and it's hurting Taiwan. For centuries, in every culture, philosophy has given birth to concepts, ideas, and analysis, and through this has laid down the basis for cultural, independent, and creative thought. Following the best philosophies is the foundation of an organization, a government, and a country. When people start doing something wrong in the organization, it's a red flag, and it needs to be corrected right away. I hope the NTB and the Taiwanese government could correct their mistakes, revoke Tai Ji Men's 1992 tax bill, and begin following all the good philosophies to serve the people of Taiwan. Thank you.
As Jeff said, in Tai Ji, Yin, and Yang, there's only black and white, representing right and wrong, and there is no gray area in between. Dr. Hong taught his disciples to always do the right thing and learn to distinguish between right and wrong. But it is clear that the Taiwan National Taxation Bureau and a few officials in Taiwan are not correcting their mistakes and continue to violate human rights and freedom of religion. And their actions are seriously harming Taiwan's hard-won democracy and rule of law. The next speaker, Polly Han, will share her thoughts with us.
Hi everyone, it's my pleasure to attend today's celebration of World Philosophy Day. One of the concepts of philosophy is the study of a reasoned pursuit of fundamental truths. As a Tai Ji Men member, I have learned many wisdom and life lessons from Dr. Hong that have helped me navigate through life and discover a greater purpose for my life. One of the teachings I learned from Dr. Hong is how to differentiate between good from bad, right from wrong, and true from false. In life, we make a lot of decisions, and what I've learned is that there's only one truth, and the only way to live a life free of guilt is to honor the truth. However, there are many incidents of injustice in the world, and many of them are caused by individuals attempting to conceal the facts for selfish reasons. If this is done on a larger scale, many people may suffer as a result. An example of such injustice is the Tai Ji Men tax case. More than 24 years ago, Taiwan's National Taxation Bureau imposed taxes on Tai Ji Men solely on the basis of a criminal indictment. The testimony of tax collector Yue Shenxi was the main evidence presented by prosecutor Hou Kuan-zhen to indict Tai Ji Men. Tax collector Yue Shenxi, who had never conducted any actual investigation of Tai Ji Men, was summoned by prosecutor Hou to commit perjury by falsely claiming that Tai Ji Men is a cram school that allegedly evaded taxes. The truth finally came out on August 22, 2021, to the public through an interview with Mr. Shi. In an interview, he revealed that prosecutor Hou, who initiated the Tai Ji Men case, asked him to testify falsely against Tai Ji Men. He was being asked to look another way from the truth. In fact, Shi has stated that no matter what he said, prosecutor Hou would simply claim that she determined Tai Ji Men was evading taxes, so there was no use for him to even try. She went on to say that when he was being asked about the case at the time, he would express his reservations about issuing tax bills to Tai Ji Men, but no one would listen to him. In his opinion, taxation should be supported by evidence, by truth. And in the Tai Ji Men case, No clear explanation or evidence for the calculation of the taxes were provided. Since Ho's indictment in 1997, the National Taxation Bureau has relied solely on the indictment to justify its tax demands, but an indictment is not a court judgment. This interview confirmed that the prosecutor made up the tax evasion charges against Tai Ji Men and that the tax bills issued were illegal. Furthermore, the Taiwanese Supreme Court has since ruled that Tai Ji Men was not guilty of all charges and did not owe taxes. In the Tai Ji Men case, the control yuan also took the initiative to investigate and conclude that prosecutor Ho Kuan-zhen committed 8 major violations of the law, and the National Taxation Bureau committed 7 violations of the law. The National Taxation Bureau admitted making mistakes in each of the 7 corrections issued by the control yuan, proving that the tax bills were illegal and should be revoked immediately. There's a saying that you can't hide the truth, and for the last 25 years, Tai Ji Men and other scholars and experts have been exposing that truth, sharing the facts with the public, so the Taiwanese government officials can be encouraged to take the right actions and end this case of injustice. Philosophy teaches us to reflect, and through critical questioning of our existence and purpose, it gives us meaning to our lives. Our conscience, who is innate in all of us, will lead us like a compass and steer us in the direction of the truth. There's a quote that says, "Your life is the sum result of all the choices you make, both consciously and unconsciously. If you can control the process of choosing, you can take control of all aspects of your life. You can find the freedom that comes from being in charge of yourself." It is vital that we listen to our conscience and make choices in our lives honoring the truth in order to have less injustice and more peace and harmony in the world. Thank you.
In the Tai Ji Men fake case, the prosecutor fabricated fake evidence, fake witnesses, and fake tax bills in order to create a fake case. However, there is only one truth, and the truth will become clearer and clearer. Philosophy teaches us to reflect, and our innate conscience will be like a compass guiding us towards the truth. The next speaker, Alan Hong, will share his thoughts with us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alan, and on World Philosophy Day, I would like to share why I believe this International Day is so important for myself, as well as to share some life wisdom that I've learned from Tai Ji Men. Throughout the turbulent times of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for everyone to have a sense of unity and solidarity for all world citizens. There are many different challenges that everyone has to face, and throughout these last 2 years, I hope that everyone has gained a new appreciation for the things we have always taken for granted. World Philosophy Day is a great opportunity for people to really contemplate what truly matters to people in life. Sometimes it can be quite difficult for people in a very fast-paced and busy modern world to really quiet down and figure out the direction in which one wants to travel, what one truly wishes to accomplish for oneself and for the community surrounding them. This day is also one that can help people realize the better actions that they can take, as well as having discussions regarding good and bad, right and wrong. Being able to listen to one's conscience and what it means for the actions they choose, if employed on a large enough scale, would certainly make this world a better place. Personally, growing up in Tai Ji Men, I've learned from Shifu and many other brothers and sisters life wisdom and different perspectives on what constitutes a successful, fulfilling, and impactful life. One such example is the realization of the passage of time. It seems as if there is always going to be a tomorrow, or a next week, month, or even year. Yet if you choose to take a step back and look at your life from a far enough perspective, you realize that your time is very limited. I believe that looking through the world with this lens will help you understand the importance of not procrastinating very important things for your very uncertain future. The past and the future are an illusion that you can never truly touch. The present is the only time that you control, so it is important to realize that and to focus on taking actions in the present. Second, in Tai Ji Men, I've learned the wisdom of always trying to step outside of your comfort zone and to continuously challenge yourself with something that you thought was completely out of your own capabilities. Doing this as a habit for a long time will help you grab onto opportunities that you otherwise might have let go or wasted away. Whether this is learning a new skill or helping someone in need, you never truly know what it might bring for you in the future. And to have this mindset of constant improvement will in time help one contribute a lot of good to oneself and their communities. The last point of wisdom I would like to share is that of taking action. A lot of people may at one point or another have thought about doing something, yet only to dismiss it for another time. This can be because they do not want to step outside their comfort zone, or because they do not have the courage or self-confidence to go forth. Or it can be because people overthink the little details that can go wrong when trying something new. Personally, I believe that the thoughts inside of your mind are only a possibility. It is only when you can take action that it becomes a reality. This way, through the challenges and critical junctions in life, a person can, like myself, have the urgency to live a life that would be without much regret. In summary, I believe that World Philosophy Day is a great day to remind everyone to contemplate on the wisdom of life and how one can live more fulfilled lives. It is a great day to also discuss the choices we can make as a society for the future civilization of humanity. And having these conversations of how people can work together to conjure new perspectives and help the progress towards a better future, as well as give the people the courage to fight for what is important and right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Alan, for sharing. Eric Roux, chairman of the European Forum for Interreligious Freedom of Religion, said that when a democratic country starts to go off track and injustice occurs, his influence may be worse than in a country with a totalitarian system. We sincerely hope that the persecution of Tai Ji Men will end soon and Tai Ji Men's sacred land will be returned, and that President Tsai's promise of transforming justice and protecting human rights will no longer be just a slogan, but will truly allow the people of Taiwan to live in peace and prosperity, with democracy, rule of law, human rights, and freedom. Our next speaker, Susan Selfridge, share her thoughts with us.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Susan Wang Selfridge. As succinctly expressed by the United Nations, philosophy is a study of the nature of reality and existence, of what is possible to know, and of right and wrong behavior. It comes from the Greek word philosophia, meaning the love of wisdom. It is one of the most important fields of human thought as it aspires to get at the very meaning of life. In celebrating this important day, as a professional music educator and a world citizen, I wanted to share my observations, surveying various philosophers' views on education and how governmental policies directly impact quality of education, preservation of culture, and the pursuit of self-cultivation to achieve higher life goals. Ancient Greek philosophers such as Pythagoras, Plato, and Aristotle have had an everlasting influence on the development of Western culture, including music, education, and society. Pythagoras believed that music was inseparable from numbers and considered music to be the key to both the spiritual and the physical universe. He viewed music as a system of pitch and rhythm ruled by the same mathematical laws that operate the entire visible and invisible world. Therefore, it was believed that music possessed moral qualities and could affect character and behavior. From Book 3 of Plato's Republic, he argued that music has the power to generate beauty and purity in building an ideal state and vice versa. Therefore, Plato promoted the usage of music modes of Dorian and Phrygian as they fostered the virtues of temperance and courage. Plato deliberates on the matter of education as an integral and vital part of a broader matter of the well-being of human society. The ultimate purpose of education is to help people know the idea of the good, which is to be virtuous. Predating the philosophical achievements of the classical Greek period, The Zhou dynasty served as a foundational civilization in societal evolution and the longest lasting dynasty in Chinese history. Lord Zhou was responsible for establishing the Li and Yue system that stabilized the state after his brother overthrew the preceding Shang dynasty. Reflecting on the cause of the Shang dynasty's downfall, Lord Zhou realized that the brutality, lack of humanistic cultivation, and poor leadership of Shang's last king eroded people's trust and led to the doom of the state. Therefore, he formulated a complete set of codes based on morality for the people to follow. The purpose of Li was to standardize one's behavior and to establish proper manners when engaging in various interpersonal activities or to follow proper protocols when conducting rituals and functions such as weddings, funerals, banquets, meeting alliances, and even during wars. A suitable style of music or dance would accompany each function. The function of Li and Yue was to bring about harmony and peace even among people who had many differences. To Chinese people, Li and Yue are important educational principles because their purpose is to promote harmony and peace. Furthermore, the principles are particularly relevant to interactions in a globalized multicultural world. As expressed by Martin Luther King Jr., education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence, to discern the true from the false, the real from the unreal, and the facts from the fiction. Philosophers from Lord Zhou to Plato to Martin Luther King Jr. were well aware of what they perceived as shortcomings of their respective cultures. They each advocated education in morality to create a more just and inclusive world. That is why Prince Siddhartha Gautama of the Shakya Republic of the ancient India abandoned his privilege to seek for enlightenment for the sake of liberating the people from the tyranny of the social injustice and the oppression of the caste system, and ultimately achieve the Buddhahood, passing on the teachings to obtain the ultimate freedom and liberation for all sentient beings. Government policies can have far-reaching impact on the social, economic, and cultural health of the community, nation, and the world. This can be through investments or divestments in conventional education. It can be through policies that directly or indirectly impact extracurricular programs, as is outlined in the case of Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy. For more than 2 decades, Dr. Han has led members of Tai Ji Men to travel the world, visiting 101 countries and conducting cultural exchanges. During a cultural exchange in the United Nations in 2018, Ambassador Tiburoro Sito from Kiribati honorifically referred to Dr. Han as a modern-day Confucius. These exchanges include music and dance performances with the intent of bringing the hearts of world citizens together to promote a philosophy that no matter the cultural background, world citizens seek peace and harmony in a chaotic world. During the global goodwill and cultural trips, the ceremony of ringing the bell of love and peace seeks to inspire leaders of all fields, including heads of states, UN ambassadors, and Nobel Peace Prize laureates to make commitments to global sustainability and peace. Over my 16 years of participating with this organization, seeing all the work they have done internationally, I have witnessed how their international peace-building efforts through cultural exchanges have been significantly hindered by the Taiwan government's economic policies. By allowing the corrupt taxation policies imposed to the people, Taiwan government is in direct violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and the International Covenant on economic, social, and cultural rights. The former US Chief Justice John Marshall said that the ability to tax involves the ability to destroy. The Tai Ji Men case is an example of how governmental policies can obstruct cultural preservation and violate the principles of conduct, 礼, and music, 乐, established by Lord Zhou. As one of the founding fathers of the United States of America, Thomas Jefferson stated, the purpose of government is to enable the people of a nation to live in safety and happiness. Government exists for the interests of the governed, not for the governors. It is crucial for governmental officials to set conscientious examples when they exercise the power that was entrusted by the people. When public servants make mistakes, proactively remedying the mistake can restore public trust. One of the Bible's scriptures illustrated such an account. In Luke chapter 19, 1 through 10, it is said that a tax collector, Zacchaeus, was rich but dishonest. Very much so, he was loathed by the townsmen. Nevertheless, the conscience of this unjust tax official was awakened by the compassion of Jesus when they met at the city of Jericho. Zacchaeus proclaimed, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I gave to the poor, and if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold." From this example, we see how a corrupt official can come to terms with his conscience and take concrete actions to amend his unlawful mistakes. Philosophers throughout history have advocated the imperative of moral or conscience education, emphasizing that the higher purpose of education is to inspire humanity to rediscover the fundamental human virtues of love, compassion, and honesty, as well as to rekindle our innate conscience. As we celebrate World Philosophy Day, let us continue the quest for deepening our understanding of the universal truths and use this wisdom as the underpinnings of an advanced society and culture that is sustainable and respects human rights for all. Thank you.
For many years, Tai Ji Men has been promoting love, conscience, and peace around the world, injecting positive energy into the world. But in Taiwan, Tai Ji Men has been entangled for nearly a quarter of a century by the government's violent taxation practices. The Tai Ji Men case has attracted the attention of the internationally renowned human rights magazine, Bitter Winter, and a special book has been written in the hope that the forces of international justice will help to vindicate the false case. World Philosophy Day reminds people of the importance of thinking, debating, and practicing. Finally, with the song An Era of Conscience, we wish everyone to be free from external distractions, to reflect daily, to find their purest conscience, to engage in the process of continuous correction and progress, and to live a meaningful life.